I've started the recording. So the recording is now on. This is Design 301 Summer. It's the 15th. And we're working on editing commands this week. Let me make it a little bit bigger for you. I'm going to hop over to here and look at it on this one. So we're looking at editing commands. And what we're going to do today is I want to make some remarks on the week one submittals. Overall, they were really, really excellent. Really fine work. There are some difficulties making some of the recordings. Don't worry about that. If the recordings, that's really not Design 301. That's part of our overall goal as a department to get people ready for the workplace. And making recordings is not part of your work, but talking to other people definitely is. And you're going to find tons of Zoom meetings now. I get a meeting twice a month now with the design team for our new building in Tech Ed. And you just have to be able to talk on camera. Much in the design world. So don't worry about that too much. But some of them were just very nicely done with really nice markups. I'll be asking a few of you if I can share your videos that you made just to show people what's possible. And remember, it's a small part of the class. And if you didn't get credit for it, don't worry about it. Just do the best you can. It's most important to get the drawings done. And overall, everybody was making their shapes and showing that they could do their good workplace setup. And this week we'll really get into it because drawing is great, but you can't draw without having to change something. In Autocad, we say that you draw too much and then get rid of what you don't want. It's sort of like get rid of everything in that block of soap that's not the elephant, and you'll have carved an elephant. So we do a lot of making something and then copying it and moving it and trimming away and offset. And I haven't even included the two most common commands in Autocad. That is undo and erase. Those are the two that you use the most often, but everybody kind of gets that. Control Z is undo, and delete is erase. Highlight it and delete. So we've got these ones, and then there are more that make life easier that you'll be able to see. Okay? And then we'll talk about how to do the work that's done, the work that's due this week. So that's what we're going to do today. For the week, you'll see that we are working on AutoCAD. We're going to work mostly on move, copy, rotate, and trim. And actually, there is no rotate this week. In the ones that I ask you to do this week, there is no rotate requirement, but you should look it over and kind of check it out. And then there are some others that do make life easier this week, namely offset and array. So once you've done the plates using these, you might want to go back and try them with these. And I threw in the fillet command because we talked about that in the production discussion last week, that rounding corners are important. Now, none of the ones that we do this week need fillet, but you can look at it and see if you want to just play with it a little bit and get ahead. So those are the editing commands, and that'll be today mostly. And then tomorrow we'll start talking about the idea of orthographic projection. Now, many industries do not rely on orthographic projection. It's a set of rules for presenting 3D work flat that's used mostly in mechanical, a little bit in architectural, and a little bit in interior design. But really, it's mostly in mechanical work. And mechanical is also a big part of mechanical is the architectural side, where you need to see the mechanical equipment that's going into the architectural stuff. So it's important to start looking at it. It may not be your bag, and it may not. Landscapers, you don't use this at all. You really don't talk about orthographic projection, but we're going to go over it so that if you see it, you know about it. And this is the best video that I've ever seen that describes it. And it's like 2.5 minutes long. And it's just ideal. And it really encompasses everything. So please look at this one before class on Wednesday. And then I'll show you how to do the work that's required. I do have a playlist that I'm putting stuff in. There's a few things in it now. So this tutorial was made by the Design Hub, and it's the best basic tutorial I have seen. You can Google all the AutoCAD tutorials you want. This is the best one I've seen. Here's the orthographics, and here's some kind of clunky ones that I made myself that in the fall, I'll hand these over to our Design Hub crew to do. So that's an opportunity for those of you who enjoy graphic design and sort of video production. If you've taken some of our classes, we do have work in the Design Hub. If you've got some level of skill, it's actually paid work this semester and in the spring, can be paid work. And you can make cool videos like this, much better than I do. I do okay, but when you see this one, you're going to go, oh, wow, that is so much better than what you put together, Schuster. But they're still okay. They're not bad. So here are some of this has the copy, move, rotate, trim. Here's the offset command, array, basic fillet. And this is just the how-to. It doesn't tell you at all the usefulness or when to use it. Those are all industry specific. Okay, and then I'd love to just give you guys things to practice. So here's just some random practice stuff. We do have this timed assessment that you can do, and in the fall we'll have our badging system ready, and you can get a badge for knowing how to do the draw command. And these are some of the ones that we would do, and we would need you to do each of these in like 2 to 3 minutes or less, and present them and do your video of them, and then we could give you a badge. And so you can see these are like, and we'd have you do it a number of different ways. Okay, but you can see there's different things that we would like to see. But this has copy, offset, move. This has a couple of different styles of drawing. This has snap to the grid. This has the fillet and the arc command or the circle command and some center line. And then these all get dimensioned. So this is just a nice basic drawing thing that you can practice with. These are just editing commands that you can just practice with. And this is a PNG with the instructions, but we've got a CAD file. Here's the CAD file that goes with it. So you can look at the directions and then download the CAD file and try it. Like, here's the mirror command. Here's a mirror command with a fillet, I think. Here's a lengthen command. So you can just practice those. This is part of an assessment that's done during interviews at a local shop. And then what's trim, move, mirror drawing? I guess just those are just some things that you can practice with. I'll always be giving you some stuff like that. And then here again, this is where you'll find each of the plates for this week. Okay, so there's random things to try. We have some cool production, some cool discussions. So this time we've got a drawing. This is a production drawing. And the goal is to look at this and just see if you can figure out what's some of the jargon. What are some of the words and call outs and methods of presenting information that you might not know about? Okay, and it's okay. It's kind of fuzzy. It comes from the internet and they make it fuzzy on purpose so you can't just reproduce this and send it off to a shop and make these things. You might even try to figure out what it is. It says here that it's a boring bar holder, and you might look for one of those and find out what it's used for. But there's all sorts of things on here that if you don't know what it is, you don't know what it is, and you might need to start asking about it. What do those things mean? And so that's what this is about. Just go, I don't know what that means. I don't know what 10 UNC means. I don't know what a 2A means. I don't know what this weird call out over here with 2 dimensions on it means. I don't know what that symbol is. What are those little dotting lines? I don't know what those little dotted lines are. Why'd they go to the trouble of doing all this? What's cham? What's a cham? So there's also like, here's a UNF, here's a UNC, here's a 2A, here's a 3B. Here's a weird little symbol that, what is that thing? This thing's underlined. So there might be lots of things. What does break all sharp edges mean? Kind of a weird thing to say. So the things that you're not, and look, if you haven't worked in a machine shop, you probably don't know what a lot of this stuff is. And so we can look at that. And it's just for you, just go, hey, I don't know what some of these are. And if you can do that with a video, that's great. Just create a video and circle some things and say, I don't know what this means. Ounce? 1 ounce? 1 ounce? 10 UNC? I don't know what that means. So that's what this one's all about. And it is fuzzy, but that's what I get for getting one off the web. But this has a lot of stuff on it that's kind of cool. So that's that one. Let me go back and look at number 2. And this is about making a tracing. And I've given you a video for it. But this talks about a little bit. Tracing is a fundamental skill that you should know in Autocad. It's used over and over and over again. Graphic design, civil, even architecture, even mechanical work. You're always tracing stuff, so you should know how. And the trick to tracing is having your image that you're tracing set in such a way that it's useful. Now, in this case, we're going to go over one from Google Image, Google Maps, and it's an area map of a county. And so you can't just take a snip of the Google because that's a copyrighted presentation. However, you are allowed within copyright to make a tracing for it that you put into your own project. So area maps show the people that are approving it, whether it be the bank or the commission, just sort of the area that your project is in, and then you would usually put some sort of a little shaded box to zoom in on it to show where it is. And almost all planning commission submittals will require that. And so it's just a common one to be able to do some tracing. So this is how you do it, and there's a tutorial on it. And then the thing is, once you've done that, you're only going to trace some of the stuff. And so I'd like you to kind of explain why you chose. So I didn't do that in my video, but I chose just to show the major roads. In mine, I've got I-5 and I-80 and Highway 113 and Highway 85. And I just chose to show those. Okay? So those are your discussion items. A little bit again about some production, and this is just a good thing to have. Okay, so I think I've gone over what we've got. So here's the submittal, and also there were a few questions. Some people said, oh, that was kind of hard to find. They didn't remember it. And it's also on our homepage, but I made it really big and obvious. At this point, that's your big main useful link. So if you ever need to, you can go right to it and go, up, there it is. There's my submittal. There's my template for number 2. And that'll tell you what to do. All right, so how does that sound? Any questions on that's just sort of your submittals were excellent. The presentations were good. Everything was pretty complete. So I think I was pretty happy with what you guys put in there. Okay, so let me go ahead then and talk. Now we're into it. That was just my preamble, my chit-chatting away, my going over stuff. Now we'll get into class. Okay, so week 2 is editing commands. Again, you'll put some visuals up here. Now, when you put your visuals, we're going to have 2 things. We're going to have editing commands and orthographics. So you'll probably want to show some examples of your plates for editing commands. Now, if you need a copy of that and see it bigger, you can just make it bigger and look at it. Okay, but I did this week give you a link to the drawing plates that you can see full size. So there it is, nice and big. So that was something that a few people said it was hard for them to work with. They had a hard time reading it. So I've tried. I always, when people say that one of my presentations isn't clear enough, I do my best to adjust things to what they've commented on. So there's 2 things you can do. You can just make that bigger so you can see it, or you can go back to hold on. You can go back to the what to do, and I put a link to the drawing plates. So you're going to have something for your editing commands and then something to show orthographics. Again, you'll have set yourself a schedule and see how you do, and let me know what slides you're going to work on. Far fewer slides to do, but each slide will take a little bit more. This slide takes me about 3 or 4 minutes. So I'm giving you an hour because you haven't done it 50,000 times. Same with this one. These also, when you look at doing this one, let me see if I can find it now. Now I don't know where I put it. Well, I have to go back and get it now. There we go. Nope, wrong one. I want drawing plates. There we go. There are many, many ways you can go about doing this one. If you get one way done well, try another. Same with this one. There are so many different ways that you can conceive. And what I'm going to suggest is, and we're going to go over this and think it through, what I'm going to suggest is that you try it a few different ways as you go. Okay? And we'll go over those in a minute. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 drawings to do that will require you to draw lines and do some other things. And there's a video for, there will be a video for each one as I demonstrate them. And then there's 4 of these to do. Okay? So I'm going to get right into it right now. So I'm going to go into my VMware now and see if I can sorry, I need to get that down here. I got to get into my right one here. Hold on. There we go. Sorry, I didn't quite get myself all the way together here. I'm going to put this on a Jamboard. There we go. And so now I can get it onto a Jamboard. And I'm putting the link. If you want to get onto it too, you're welcome to do so. Oh, I can't do it from there. Hold on. Know where I can get to it. That should let me get it from there. There we go. Why is that not letting that happen? Wow, these controls are totally whacked out. There we go. So there's the Jamboard. If you want to get on with it, you're welcome to if you feel like it. Let me just load up an image really quick and we're gonna talk about it. So the way I'm going to go about doing this is this is really a whole bunch of straight lines with little segments removed. So you'll see, you know, that doesn't really, that's this thing, but it's kind of twisted and turned in a funny direction. So, and here this one isn't really quite the same. So I could make these and I could use the rotate command and copy and move because these are all the same thing. That's why I'm saying there's many ways to do this. I could make this one thing and use it over and over and over and just copy and rotate it and move it into place. But the way I'm going to do it, just cuz, is I'm going to draw a series of lines. And actually, I'm going to draw the line once and I'm going to copy it. So I make a grid. Now, if you wanted to set your grid, you could just draw this too. So you just start going snap, 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 snap. This one you could use your grid snaps if you wanted to. I haven't shown you how to set your grid to be exactly 0.38, but you can look that up. But the way I'm going to demonstrate it, because I like people to practice the trim command, is to make this grid and then erase the little stuff that I don't need. So that's how I'm going to go about doing this one. Okay? That's the methodology that I've chose. So I see down here that I've got a line that's 4.18 and 4.18, and everything seems to be spaced by 0.38. And if I do just a little bit of arithmetic in my head, I can see that this is 3 of them, and 3 times 0.38 is 1.14. So these are all 0.38 apart. So all of the lines are 0.38 apart. So I'm going to draw all the lines and then trim away where they don't belong. So that's what I'm going to do. That's my plan. And it's always good to have a plan before you start. Now, it doesn't say where this thing sits, except it's somewhere inside of 00 to 10.7.75. So there we go. That's what I'm going to try to do. So now I'm going to take another snip of that for my own computer so that I can have a reference to that while I'm drawing. So I can see it while I draw. And now I'm going to turn on Autocad. Here we go. So I like to make my box. It's going to go from 0, 0 to 10, 7. Oops. Try that again. 10, 7 points. Boy, I am just not typing well. I'm going to try that again, typing a little bit better. There we go. So it's got to fit in there somewhere. So if I draw a line, I'll just start down here somewhere. 4.18. And I need my snaps on. and my ortho on. There we go. 4.18. Now I get to use a cool tool called copy. So if I copy an item, select, enter, and then it says, how far do I want it to go when I copy it? So, it says, where do you want to start? So I'm going to pick this bottom corner, and I'm going to move it up, and I'm going to go 3/8 of an inch, 0.38, 0.38. Let me do that again. Not being very clear and careful here. I'm going to copy this, starting here, and I'm going to go up 0.38. Now it's really cool. That one was a distance, but every one is going to go that distance again. So I'm going to copy this one, and I'm going to copy it the same distance as from here to here to here to here to here, because they're always the same. So I can just kind of lag behind, and that gets that copying pretty quick. And then I can do the same thing over here. I can go this way, 0.38. And again, I can copy this item, click, enter because I copied it. Now it's click, 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 because I'm just snapping to the end. So I get them very, very quickly. So now I just have to look at my drawing and sort of figure it out. You know what I'll do? I'll put it right into here. Right click, clipboard, paste. And then I can grab that grip and just bring it down to size. It's not, Sometimes when ortho is on, it gets kind of in the way. I don't need it that huge. There we go. Okay, so now I see these two little lines here have to go away, but I can't get rid of the line or the whole thing goes away. I want to trim the line between these 2 points. I want to trim the line between those 2 points. And I got sloppy down here. My gosh, how did I get so sloppy? That's not very good down there. I should do better. Okay, but I'm going to trim now, and I want to trim those 2 little points away. So I'll trim, and I'll select all the little pieces I might want to trim and say enter because I trimmed them. And then I can pick the little pieces that I want to trim. I have to get over here, and yeah, that looks good. And then I go around the corner and down and around the corner to there. And now this thing right here looks like that one right there. And then I'll trim again, and I get rid of that one. That one won't trim because I really messed these things up. That was really sloppy. This is why you have to get your drawings accurate sometimes. These were just really, I didn't do a good job on my copy command. Okay, so it won't trim if there's nothing to trim between. There we go. So now you can see that little corner. And then I think these two have to come out too. Yep, those two come out. So that's how you do that one. You just start going to town and trimming. So let me see this next one over here. This next one has to kind of get rid of this stuff. Okay. Trim. You see, that one goes away. That one. And then it comes down this way. And then a couple of these go away. And then these go away. And again, I don't have those. I was just sloppy when I did those. And I just typed TR. I usually type instead of, and I have my right hand on the mouse and my left hand on enter so that I can repeat commands quickly. And this one goes all the way over to here. There we go. I got rid of too much. So it's all just about, okay, go through these one at a time. Do that again, trim or TR. Select all the things that you might want to trim and hit enter. And then take away what doesn't look like it should be there. There we go. That way. That way. Yep. I think I've got that first row of them done. And then you can just continue on to get the next ones. Okay? So that's how you do that one. And it's the trim command. And it's the copy command. Copy, and a whole bunch of trimming. So that's how you do that one. Let's take a look at the next one. The next one is plate number 2. And it's kind of the same. It's a bunch of squares and stuff. But let's take a look at this and see what we can think about it. Let's go back to the Jamboard and let's see what that one might look like. So this one I see I've got the same square over and over again. So that's probably going to be a copy command. And not only is it the same square, but it's the same square with another square inside of it. So let's see. It says that these 4 squares are 2.5 square, and that the inside is all 1/2 inch away from the outside. That's called an offset. That's why I think the offset command is so cool. So if I draw this square and I offset a version of it 1/2 inch, I'll kind of have this thing. And then I can move this corner into place. And then it doesn't really tell me how wide this is, but it says this corner of this one is 1/2 inch away from this corner. So I could figure that out. That's 2.5 plus 0.5 is 3, but I make so many arithmetic errors. That's why I didn't become a civil engineer. Too many arithmetic errors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of this, and I'm going to put this corner right on here, and then I'm going to move it exactly what it tells me. I tend to look and see what I'm told and use that information. And then if I could make another copy of these two and move them up, right? Make a copy and put it right there and then move them up 1/2 inch, I'll have those. Then I'll have to figure out how to do this one. But let me try all that first. Okay, so here we go. And I can keep these all in one file if I want, or I can start a new file. And I'll show you about that all later on, but I'm just going to put it into the new file. So let me make a copy of this one. And I remember if I right click and clipboard paste, I get it in here, and it's way too big. And if I move that, I can say move this thing from one point to another. I can move it. There we go. I think I'm ready to start. So again, it's got some sort of a rectangle. And the rectangle is 10, 7.75. And this says it's going to start at 2.2, which is from here, 2, 2. That's where it's going to start. See, from wherever you've called your 0, 0, the lower left corner, says go over 2 and up 2 to start. So I'll start there, and then I'm going to make a square that's 2.5 by 2.5. And if I make it all one thing, I got this really cool command called offset. And I can just type it, or I can click on it. Offset. Now, how far? It says specify the distance. It says 0.5 over here. So I'll go 0.5. What do I want to offset? This thing. And which way? I want to go inward. Click. Isn't that cool? And now, remember I said I'd make a copy. So there's my copy command. Select those objects. And I'm going to take this corner and place it right at the next corner. Because that way I know they lined up. And now I can move them this direction, 0.5. Because that's what it told me to do. It said make a copy of this thing 1/2 inch straight over. And so now I can copy those. And I can take this bottom corner and put it right on the top. And then I can move those upward. Want to just make sure my direction is right. 0.5. Got it. Ha ha ha. So I've got those ones. So now let's take a look at this. Let me go back to my Jamboard for a moment. This square says it's 3.5 square, so I have to make a new one. But this says typical, which means everywhere. So this square here is also 1/2 in. So I can make a new square, and then it says to place it from this point over 1 and up 1. So I can draw a little line to that spot, create this thing, and then move it into place. Let's try that. That's where it's going to go. Now I can draw that other square anywhere. 3.5, comma 3.5. You did rectangles last week with an offset of 0.5. It's already in there. Enter and take that shape and move it in. And now I have the move command. So I drew it somewhere, and I'm going to move it so that this bottom corner is at the end of the line. Select, delete, select, delete. Now, you can see I've got too much drawn, so I have to use that trim thing again. I'm going to select everything I might want to trim, enter, and I see those 2 lines are gone, and these 2 lines are gone. That was these 2 lines and these 2 lines. And here I see these 2 lines are gone, and these 2 lines are gone. And here I see 2 lines gone, 2 lines gone. And here I see 2 lines and 2 lines. Got it. Now remember I said line weights might become useful sometimes. So I've got my line weights to show dark, and you'll notice that it really does show better on your portfolio if you've got it dark. But sometimes when they're dark, it can get a little bit hard to find differences in lines, so you can turn them on or off. So before I put this in my portfolio, I would probably turn my line weights on, right click, and make them pretty heavy so that you can get a really nice snip. Wow, there's another one. Let's see what our third, I better save this, right? I always tell you, save early and often. Save. I'm going to go put it somewhere. There we go. Okay, and so our third one, I've got them around here somewhere. I know why, they were right there. Third one, oh, well, here's another thing. It looks like a bunch of triangles that I can put into shape, but there's only a little bit of information given. So I'm going to think about this one a little bit. And we'll probably just have time to sort of do this one, and I'll finish up the last one during highlights. Okay, so this one doesn't have a specific spot for it either. I'm just going to draw something in here. I'll move this out of the way. Okay, so I see 2.5, 5.25 across, and another one. So these are all 60-degree angles. Let me set myself 30, 60, 90. And I can draw 2.5. I need to have my tracking on. Now it's interesting, these are 0.25 in from each other. But since these are separate lines, when I do the offset, it's not quite as clean as what we had before because it does the whole line. So here's where the trim command gets useful. I can trim away stuff. But I'm going to show you another one that's also useful. It's this fillet. And if you want to make a sharp corner, you can just fillet 2 lines. That was quicker, wasn't it? Okay, 5.25 across. Copy this set so that this end ends up on this end. Now I got to find where those top ones meet. So again, I can do that fillet command. And where those top ones meet, that's where the last triangle is going to go. Isn't that cool? So now, these are also 0.25 in, so I can go not fillet, sorry, offset. And now I can use that cool fillet command again. Now, I'll tell you what I like to do here, because these all have to get offset again, and I don't want to do as many of them. I just keep 1 point on each one of these. And then I'll click and drag it down to the point. And click and drag it. Oop. Click and drag it up to the point. That's a personal preference. Again, there's only a million ways you can do this. But now we've got the offset command again, one more time. And I like to fillet those again because it's just so quick and easy. Rid of this little extra line that's too much. And now you can see that all I've got to do is a little bit more trimming again. And you just have to pick and choose what you're going to trim. There we go. So this is all, boy, I tell you, it's just practice, practice, practice. So let's see, that was a good question right there. Is there a way to paste an object where you want it rather than drawing a line to snap to? Yes, but you're not given the information of where it is. I mean, well, yes, you could easily do that. You know that it's 3 inches from here. So you could do a copy and know that you just copy it over, right? 2.75 or whatever it is, 1/4 inch in between. So you can always figure it out. But I used exactly the information that I had, but I had to get this corner over to here. So I would have had to know how far it is from this corner to this corner if I was going to do that move. But absolutely. I mean, it's whatever is the easiest for you. You can easily do that. And look, I used the copy command. You could do the cut and paste, Control C, Control C, Control V. All of those ways work. Sometimes things are easier one way or the other, but we're just sort of getting you to learn the command. Did that answer your question, Stephen, or was that too complicated? Okay, yes for now. Yeah, and you can experiment. There's also, I'll tell you, there's so many ways you could draw this as a polygon with a certain distance. If you did a little bit of math and geometry and figured out what that is, and you could just go offset, 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 and trim, 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 trim. There are tons of different ways to do this. Since trim is such a nice, pretty straightforward one that we can do, I tend to sort of teach it with the trim command for the majority of what I do. And let's see, these two go away, and these two go away, and these two. There we go, got it. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording now.